Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. If I make a few screw-ups or you hear me slur my words or whatever, I just got my molar pulled this morning, and it is hurting like hell. But you know how that goes. It's better than what it was before. So I got it done. Finally, I got it done. Root canal was impossible based on what it's this. Bridge MCP, I got to say thank you for sending me off to these folks that dramatically reduce the bill. I think it's restreaming to YouTube. Let me see. According to this, it's streaming to YouTube, and I'm looking at YouTube here from a stream. So check your connection, Bridge. Twitch is not streaming. That's not our fault. That there's some issues between the connection between Restream and Twitch. Okay, welcome aboard. So I'm in pain, folks. So bear with me if I'm a little bit, Hello, Lee Grant. Welcome aboard. Michael Rudden. Welcome aboard. Bridge MCP. Welcome aboard. Thank you for passing me, reminding me that I could go to my alma mater for dental services at a better cost. Much better cost. Michael Rudden. Paul Fleming. Welcome aboard. AVQ. Let's see who else is in here. May Wood. Welcome aboard. And if I miss you, Paul Fleming Sr., call me out. All right, from Michael Rudden, CBS News. Record methane leak flows from damaged Baltic Sea pipelines. It's catastrophic for the climate. Methane leaking from a damaged Nord Stream pipeline is likely to be the biggest burst of the potential greenhouse gas on record. Shameful. By far, the Nord Stream pipeline leaks that are pumping huge volumes of methane into the Baltic Sea and atmosphere could discharge as much as 5 times as much of the potent greenhouse as was released by the Aliso Canyon disaster, the largest known terrestrial release of methane in history. It also is equivalent to the third of Denmark's total annual greenhouse gas emissions. A Danish official warned Wednesday. This is right here is why I'm against oil and gas pipelines. They sabotaged it, man. They sabotaged it. Bloomberg News, Nord Stream gas leaks may be new disaster for the climate. I'll let you guys go ahead and read on to that. USA Today, here's how you can help those affected by Hurricane Ian in Florida. Hurricane Ian tore through the western coast of Florida on Wednesday with 150-mile winds and driving rainfall. Harrowing wind videos of violent storm surge overtaking cars. Everybody's watching that on TV. CNN, substantial loss of life. Now that's what I want to talk about. Substantial loss of life possible in Florida as tropical storm Ian now takes on South Carolina. This could be the deadliest hurricane in Florida's history. President Joe Biden said Thursday the numbers are still unclear, but we're hearing many early reports of loss of life. We probably won't know the death toll and full extent of damage until tomorrow. Here's the funny thing, guys. It's not funny at all. We can't make something like this a political issue. But then again, it is the right time to specify or point out something. During the pandemic, we had leaders who encouraged their followers not to follow what the institutions are suggesting to mitigate the pandemic, to make the pandemic less horrible than it had to be. We had people in leadership convincing people, don't wear masks, go out, do whatever you want to do. Don't listen to the authorities. We pay the authorities to know more than we do. Well, same thing kind of occurred in Florida, and you have to wonder what kind of rub-off there was. Big hurricane coming. Advisors are out. Get out. Get off those barrier islands. This is a big storm. It's a Cat 4, almost bordering on a Cat 5. It's a real storm, guys. Science tells you that those barrier islands are going to be overridden with water. And by the way, from a structural standpoint, if these islands are overridden, many of those structures weren't designed to take the force of water coming in. I mean, they're not on the kind of stilts that breaks up the force that water coming against you. So therefore, walls present a sail for water. The force on a house is dependent on the cross-sectional area that the water hits. So when you have cross-sectional areas of your house, especially if it gets to the second floor, right? And that house is not, again, it's not poles. It is a solid plank or it's a solid wall. That water can easily push that house over. Likely happen. But we knew that. We knew this was going to happen, and we advised all those people to leave in Florida. We even told them, don't call us, meaning authorities, when you start to see things get out of control and then you finally want to leave. We won't be of no help. Well, there are some saying there are hundreds of people that are dead now unnecessarily. Just like there are hundreds of thousands that died from the pandemic unnecessarily. I'm in America. All of us who came from overseas in the times that I came, not now, because we know what conservatism has done to America. We know what encouraging ignorance has done to America over the several decades that I've been here now. But when I came, America was a country moving on progressive values, understanding science, understanding institutions. But when you stop believing in institutions, when you stop being able to listen to those we pay taxes to lead us right, when you start implicitly assuming that their government is no good. Sometimes you get it, that government is not good, but sometimes you get good government that everybody else ignores. And with that, it cost us life, material, and it cost us our economy. I gave that talk 2 days ago about our economic system was a fraud. And I should qualify it even better. It's a calculated fraud by those who run it, right? And they keep people dumb so that they can continue the pilfer. It's a shame. This is America, man. Whatever happened to what America was intended to be back in the days when we got here? I'm talking about immigrants who came in the late 70s, early 80s. We saw the decline as soon as we came and Reagan became the president. That's when the decline began. And please, check out As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Explained it all. Explained it all. But, it's so disappointing because the foolery of some can hurt so many. The willful ignorance of some can hurt so many. Thank you for bringing that up, Rudnan, for giving me a chance to expand on that. For anyone considering donations to Hurricane Ian relief, Bo of the Fifth Column has your follow-up for after Egberto's live stream with a short list of hard-to-find items to ship. Cash for the relief organization, chainsaws, generators, CPAP machines, portable phone, batteries, sleeping bags, cots and mattresses. I'll find somewhere to give a few bucks. Tarps and heavy plastic sheeting, easy to prepare foods and specialized my head hurts baby formula, and battery powered fans for anyone who has access to supplies, and ship these over. Man. Egberto, why is there no Twitch? I answered that. Let's see what else. Guess I'll be watching on YouTube today. Well, I love you wherever you watch, sir. Let's see. E2247 says evidence obtained by January 6th committee demonstrates Gingrich's role in spreading misinformation about the election in the days involving 14 December 2020 meeting of the Electoral College. Thank you for that. Michael Rudnin, you and only you are restreaming YouTube from FV. Okay, oops, not restreaming to YouTube. Yes, it is, baby doll, it is. Michael says, Egberto, you're sure you want to have a show today? Take a day off. Brother, let me tell you something. The evil politicians don't take days off. So we have to be right there with them. We have to be right there telling the truth. Let me tell you something. I'll get off this stuff when I can't. When something happens that is like, oh my God, I can't talk. But a headache, a pulled tooth, or whatever, no. We got to keep it going. Hi, Lee Grant. Hi, all. On YouTube, banned on FV chat for an anti-white slur, apparently. You said an anti-white slur, Lee Grant? Why? Why, Lee Grant? Bridge MCP, Michael Rudnin isn't streaming to YouTube. Others are. Okay. Continuing, Robert Davenport says, greetings, progressives. Welcome, Robert Davenport. Thank you for being here. Michael Egberto, the problem, bring me down, being with don't know who, they are to sabotage the pop line. I know, we don't really know who did it. Who they are. You're right. You're right, sir. All right, let's see what else we got. Maywood said, I have a lot of brothers and sisters in the line of that storm, still waiting for several to check in. I hope the best for them, sir. Why do they stay? Again, it's that disdain for government telling them you got to leave. Robert Davenport, we don't need to listen to big government or science in America anymore. Correct? Paying to the piper now? Sadly. Exactly, Brother Davenport. Eric says, Egberto, you might flood next time in Kingwood based on crap that Hidalgo is doing. I suggest you read what Hidalgo is doing as opposed to what the right wing tells you Hidalgo is doing. Hidalgo is working her ass off to make sure that all of Houston is spared the disasters of a flood. Lina Hidalgo is not going to make sure that Kingwood stays high and dry by dumping their water onto others who then flood. Lina Hidalgo will make sure there's equity in flood control. But you know, what a lot of folks would like is, oh, all these areas with expensive homes, let them stay dry and flood downriver. To those peons. They live in trailer homes anyway. They're trash anyway. I am sorry, brother. You will never, ever hear me or anyone in our domain think any less of anybody based on what society thinks they're worth, because you know what I think. A lot of those folks living in those trailers are teachers teaching your kids, but can't afford a real home because while they use their own money to populate the schools so that your kid can be in a very great learning environment, you don't want to pay the darn taxes to pay the teachers. You don't want to pay the taxes to give that teachers the opportunity to live in a good home. Sorry. No sympathy here. If you make things political in the face of this storm, that is sick. No. I am not making things political. I'm stating statements of facts that during a storm where people can feel the pain, they can see it in action, they can see ineptitude in action, they can see why and how you die after being advised otherwise. That's not doing it at the wrong time. That's doing it at the right time. Some people have lack of empathy. I tell you what, guys, I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm going to play our first video, an interview that I had with a black Republican. Check this out. Francis Johnson, welcome to the Bridge Alliance Social Cohesion Conference. It was a pleasure meeting you here.
Pleasure meeting you also.
Let me, first of all, tell me, we have people of all ethnicities, people of all ages, genders here, which I think it's a great thing. But most importantly, I think one of the things that we have here are both conservatives and pretty liberal folks here. And it lends itself for very good conversation, things that I think we need in our country. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the reason I'm here is, number one, I really believe in the work that Bridge Alliance is trying to do here, is to bring all different types of groups, as you mentioned, whether you're conservative, whether you're progressive. We have people from basically all over the world here, which are participate or starting to participate in the democracy reform movement here in the United States. And I think it's important, that I attend, number one, for several reasons. Our organization, which is our primary.
Tell me the name of your organization.
It's Take Back Our Republic.
Okay.
All right. We started back in 2015. We started out in the money and politics. We really feel that there's too much money that are going into different, whether it's presidential campaigns, which they do limit. But when you look at a lot of the state and local races, but also the Senate and House races, just unbelievable amounts of money are going in.
Right.
And one of the things that we got involved with is making sure that all the money that is going into these campaigns is coming from citizens here in the United States. And as you know, no campaign can accept any foreign donations.
Right.
All have to originate here in the United States. So that was how we started off. And from there, we branched into a lot of the voting, issues. Ranked choice voting is a big issue that we're working on. We're also do some work in the gerrymandering area. We're going through a transition right now in the organization, becoming more of a think tank to kind of broaden our base on the different areas, and we're going to be doing some work that's going to encompass renewables, regardless of how individuals feel about climate change. We are going to have to really think about how and where are we going to be getting our energy, whether it's powering our automobiles, electricity for our homes, all of that. That's something that it's definitely going to change in the upcoming years, and it's something that's very, very important.
And you all are actually working on environmental stability and that sort of stuff.
Yes, we when you say environmental stability, we want to make sure that the energy supplies, whatever we use, whether it's the fossil fuels, whether it's wind or whether it's solar, but we need to also look at nuclear power. We need to have that included in the mix if we're really going to say
zero carbon.
Zero carbon footprints. And
so you do actually feel. Your organization does feel like we need to make some movements into that zero carbon area.
Well, yeah, it's inevitable,
right?
All right, for just a number of different reasons. There is some climate change. We also know that at some point these areas, whether it's coal, whether it's oil, we're going to run out at some point. So we can't wait until supplies. Plus, right now we're the world situation with countries withholding oil. Look at Europe right now. The folks there are looking at the upcoming winter, and there's several countries are worried about how they're going to, with their residents and citizens of, especially Germany and some of those other Eastern European countries, how they're going to actually heat their homes over the winter. So we need to do something so we never get to that point here in the United States. And we've always been a leader in a lot of areas. And so as an organization, what we want to do is really kind of bring the facts out about, what's available, what is the best mix, and what's going to be best for the American people in the future.
Now, you're here at Bridge Alliance. First of all, I'm going to ask you two questions. What did you learn here? And also, what do you intend to carry back to your group when you get there?
Okay. Well, learned a lot. Met a lot of very smart, nice people here that at all different areas in the political process. Progressives, liberals. And there's a few of us here that are conservative. But the key is we all understand that we need to work together.
Right.
And I think what the majority of people, and I know for myself, when I'm walking away from, when I leave the meeting is, met people that I want to work with in the future.
Right.
That, and they work with, their organizations, because we really have to figure out how we're going to bring all sides together. We're never going to be able to, move forward, continue to be the strong, powerful nation, that we are, unless we all sit down and really figure this out.
Well, I want to make a personal statement about you, and that is we've engaged personally in very solid conversations about policy, etc. And speaking to somebody like you, and I say this from the heart, gives me hope, because we actually entertained truthful conversation, not an agreement, but truthful conversation.
Absolutely.
And that is how we actually make changes and move forward.
Absolutely. We have to start. We have to start this process. And I think everyone should, that at least I am, walking away from this, that, we're making a start.
Right.
And I feel the organization, Bridge Alliance, and what they're doing, is very important. I'm involved with Bridge Alliance. I'm a member of the board. And so, I really believe in the work that the organization is doing. And, we'll continue to stay involved, with it and with our organization. And whether it's, meeting new organizations and working with them, help mentor individuals that want to start organizations that could be part of this process and be members of Bridge Alliance in the future. So it's something I plan to stay involved with and, enjoy it, and, looking forward to, working with everyone here in the future.
Francis Johnson, it's been my pleasure to know you. It's been my pleasure to have you here, and I hope that we stay in contact.
Yeah, we definitely will, sir.
We had some very substantive conversations at our vegan dinners and vegan breakfasts. We had great conversations and didn't agree on everything. In fact, there are some substantive differences that we have based on certain types of ideology, but this is what it really takes, because at times he said, "Oh, okay," and I said, "Oh, okay," Anyway, Mike Cisak says, we had a lot who died unnecessarily with the pandemic due to the refusal to see what the science was saying. We suffered because of Democrats refusing science. Wow, talking about revisionist history, Mike Cisak, right? You've got to admit that this is revisionist history. We showed in counties where you had adjacent counties, one that enforced mask mandates and one that refused mask mandates, and we showed what the death rates were and what the infection rates were. Science. But still, Republicans didn't buy it. They had all these theories, but it was mostly lies, of course. What your leadership is great for is misleading good people like you, Mike. Misleading good people like you, Mike, is what your leadership does to you. Bridge MCP, DeSantis didn't vote for relief for New York or Louisiana. Hurricane, then he wants it as he should. Get it, but don't forget how he voted. I know, and it's not only DeSantis. Several of them voted against it, and now they will come with their tails. And Mike Cisak said, "Oh, DeSantis." I think DeSantis was in Congress during that when that occurred, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Mike Cisak said DeSantis wasn't in a position to vote on such. Bridge, you better look it up. Cisak, Bridge, look it up. Let's make sure we're given accurate information, because I saw that statement in the newspaper as well. So we may want to just corroborate it for the sake of it. Letter to Gingrich from Chair Bernie Thompson is full of truly damning assertion implicated Kushner, Miller, Gingrich, and others in a lot of action. We always knew they were thugs. All right. Too bad I cannot. This is E2247. Cannot paste active link into Twitch and retweet, but refuses to put it into Twitch. Sorry, guy. Maywood says just one of the major problems with neologism is they have forgotten that companies need to invest to be successful long term. Exactly. Daniel says maybe the decline in America in the 70s and 80s was because we imported Marxists like Egberto from Central and South America in the 70s and 80s. No, actually, a lot of us came here because America sent the Chicago boys, led by Milton Friedman, to destroy the economies of Central America, South America, and South Asia. That's why. Remember, I think you need to learn some history, buddy. Learn a bit of history. Actually, read The Shock Doctrine by, come on, guys, let me know. The Shock Doctrine, written by, I love her. I interviewed her, in fact. Let's see. Mike Cisak says, Breach, why were Democrats refusing to let DRs use what worked? Huh? That's not true at all. Those drugs didn't work. There's scientific proof they don't work. All right, let's see. Robert Davenport says, Mike Cisak, stop the lies, please. Today is not the day for your political nonsense based on pure reverse fact lies. I don't know why Mike Cisak does that. When he lies, it's always so easy to corroborate, and find out. And Mike, anytime you want to talk, the show is we also have the show at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at KPFT 90.1 FM. You can listen to it at kpft.org. You can come right here again and watch it. And you can call 713-526-5738 and say what you want to say. All right. Several of our peeps here have already called in. All right. Let's see. Daniel Edo, the Chinese look long-term and their machinations are paying off right now. Actually, Ledo, wow, you're absolutely correct. They've looked long-term. We've looked short-term. We've been blowing crap up all over the world. They've been putting themselves at the behest of African countries, South American countries, Central American countries. Hell, in fact, they even own the 2 ports in Panama, which has the United States thinking about invading Panama again. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. China has major interest in the 2 ports at either side of the Panama Canal, my hometown. And now the United States got caught flat-footed, and, they sent over a whole lot of planes and stuff over there, and we've been waiting to see why did America actually send some stuff over to Panama when there, technically speaking, no open U.S. bases in Panama. Who knows? Again, we need to learn our history, and we need to understand what's happening internationally as well, what we do internationally. Maywood says business and government must invest in their businesses, people, communities for the long-term success. True. Paul Fleming says Bravos County, Texas refused to reopen an early voting site on the campus of Texas A&M, the largest campus in the state, for the 2022 midterms. I wonder why. Let's see. I wonder why. Even in College Station, a conservative town, they're scared that those women are going to vote. I didn't read that one, so thank you for making me aware of that, Paul Fleming. Michael Rodnan says, why do they stay? Because they stayed and weathered the storms before, so they think the one is going to be the same as all those times. Fooled by experience, not realizing the global warming means hurricanes are getting worse. Again, their negligence again. Global warming, they don't want to believe global warming. And again, they don't want to follow authority. And ultimate goal, death. Eric A. says, Conroe dumped on Kingwood and you're wrong on equity. Those people have revived 80% of flood funds since 2000. No, false. You get money, and this, by the way, I have friends who were flooded in both the rich areas and the poor areas. And the people who live in rich areas, they dominate in the amount of money they get for their damage. And you just proved it with what you said. When you said 80% went to others and 20% went to the rich folks, and when the rich folks only comprise of 2 or 3% who got flooded, you've just made my point. It's math, brother. It's math. It's math. That 80% of floods since 2000 went to a lot of people. That 20% went to it that much. Again, you have to be careful of who is writing the story. You can kind of make numbers say whatever you want these numbers to say. And if you want it to lie, you can make it lie. All right, let's see. What time is it? Let me go back one more time to the next video. This is a video from the program a couple days ago that we talk about student loans. I really want to get this out because it's a pressing issue. Let's go and we'll come back in a little bit. Dennis, let's see. Come on in, Dennis. Let's talk. Dennis, come on in. You're hot.
Hello, Egberto. How are you, sir? Enjoying the show like I always do.
Thank you, Dennis. How can I help you, my friend?
Listen, it's an excellent topic. I don't have student debt. I actually benefited from a Pell Grant. It was just a few $1,000s at ACC. But I would wish you could touch on, A, how college got so expensive in the last 30, 40 years, and B, was there like some kind of scammery involved? When I say scammery, in the giving out of the student debts that had a lot of interest or were basically kind of unfair, you might say. If you would just touch on those subjects, I'll hang up and continue to enjoy your show as always.
Okay, Dennis, before you go though, I want to thank you for calling in, and also I want to ask you to please remind everybody else. This is just the second show that I'm doing since being back live on air. Please remind others that we are here and share our stuff that we have on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and everywhere else. So thank you so kindly for calling in, Dennis, and I'll answer all of those questions as soon as you get off. All right, folks, here's the deal. Dennis asked some very important questions about student loans. First, I want to touch on the first thing that he asked. The first one was why is student loan so expensive? Or is college so expensive? And secondly, the next question was, and is there some kind of a scammery occurring with these loans, interest rates, and etc.? Remember, there are two kinds of student debt: private and private debt, and the debt that's backed by the government. I'll explain all of that later, but let's go to the first one. The first one is, why is college so expensive? This is a very, very dirty story, and it has two parts. The way what a lot of corporations like to do right now is they would say all these darn universities, they just want to build a whole lot of buildings and keep a whole lot of professors in these buildings making money that they shouldn't. I even have a good friend of mine, a professor at a college. He agrees that universities have invested too much in all these beautiful buildings, invested too much in things like professors that are doing very little, etc. So there is some waste in the college realm itself. There is waste there. They could make other decisions, but all those kids that go to those nice buildings, that kind of creates an environment, a learning environment that they like as well. So I am willing to live with that part of the waste. I am personally. When I go to the University of Texas and I visit my old alma mater, my daughter's old alma mater, it is great seeing that we have the kind of technologies that we have there that cost a whole lot of money. But here is a major, major thing that nobody talks about. Every red state legislature, and actually to some extent blue state legislature, they always look at education to cut. You take a look at what they do here in Texas for high schools, elementary schools, or whatever. Whenever there's a budget cut, the students get cut, the teachers get cut. That is what happens, right? We are always willing to go for the people that have the least voice in our body politic. So they will cut education. So what happened in Texas and other states? The amount that students are responsible for paying, the tuition rate that they are responsible for paying, continuously go up faster than the speed of inflation, because in addition to inflation, state government proportionally is giving these universities and colleges less. And why are they giving them less? Because the corporations that go ahead and say, we want a tax cut, we want to live in a tax cut state, they continuously cut taxes. And whenever you hear a tax cut, remember that money is coming from somewhere, whether it be your roads. You talk about bumpy roads. Oh my God. Well, you don't want bumpy roads? Stop giving tax cuts to corporations who shouldn't really have it, who are the ones that are riding the big trucks that destroy your freeways. They don't want to pay for it. but they don't mind driving the cement trucks, the oil trucks, and all these trucks are all over your freeways. They're the ones that you create a great asphalt freeway, a great concrete freeway. Your little car doesn't do any damage. That freeway could go on and on for decades without any work. But you go ahead and you put those big trucks that make those super great capitalists make money. That's what damages your road. And then they say, but they want us all to pay for it. So what happens with the schools again is that you have the legislature paying less to the school. The students are responsible for more, but it goes even deeper because it's not only that the students are now asked to pay more for the school, but everything. We talk about the dorms and all these different things that were priced at cost. We have these. I give you a quick story. I want to digress a bit. I had some dental issues, so I went. They tried to charge me $5,000 for one tooth for a root canal. I went ahead and went to the UT Dental School, and the UT Dental School is going to do the entire thing, or they could do the entire thing for $700, or just about that, right? From $5,000 to $700. But I like to have conversations with everybody. So I am talking to people in the building that work there because I had to park. And I said, hey, when I park to come and get service here, are you going to stamp my thing so I don't have to pay for parking? Oh, no, sir, you have to pay for parking. And even the students have to pay for parking. Even the people who work here have to pay for parking. I'm not off the subject. This is still a part of the subject. Even they have to pay for parking. I said, okay. I said, what do you pay for parking? She said, every year, every month we have to pay $90 for parking. And we're happy with that because the other school over there charges them $180 a year. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is that the school's parking lot? Yes, it's a school parking lot managed by a private company. Oh, so that's what's happening. The school decided to monetize its parking lot by bringing in a private company who makes a profit from charging its employees to park, something that should be free given the salaries that they make. So she says, we make so little and we have to pay for parking. If we don't want to pay for parking, we have to drive the train in. It's so inconvenient. So that is like going to a job and you can't find a place to park for your job without spilling another bunch. I mean, it is the same thing that happens in cafeterias at universities where they bring in the private sector. Oh, they make, and the thing is, they all use it as a cost center to make money. It's constantly making money on those who can least afford it. And we smile and we take it. And they always talk about the efficiency of the private sector. It's the biggest lie and bull you have ever heard. So going back to the caller, Dennis, who called in, Dennis, what I'm trying to tell you is that's the first part of why college education constantly goes up. It goes up because as legislature asks folks to privatize things, as legislature gives less money per pupil to go to school, then the burden falls on the pupil. I went to school, it was I came to school as a foreigner, $40 per semester hour. And then when I became a Texas citizen, it dropped from $40 to $4 a semester hour. Don't ask, by the time my daughter was ready to go to the University of Texas, my same university, it cost her so much more than the $4 or the $40 a semester hour. That is what I call the thuggery of whenever you have a private system go into the fold and extract money. Now let's go further with the debt, because this is the next question that you asked, plural. Sorry for the grammar problem. Okay. This is the second part of the problem. When you are asked to take a loan out, you can get a government loan or a private loan. There was a time, my friend, where the government, in as much as it was lending the money and also not only lending the money, but also paying the interest rates until the person finished college, they weren't managing that money that was backed by the government. They passed that on to a private bank. So before Obamacare, how does Obamacare have anything to do with it? Legislation have a lot of things mixed in. Before Obamacare, when your kid took out a loan backed by the government, it was still being
managed by a private company. And that private company was paying, getting the interest payments and all of that kind of stuff from you, right? If you defaulted on that debt, the government was still responsible to make that bank whole. So Obama came in with Obamacare and said, wait a minute, why am I paying a bank fees for a loan that if the bank, if the person defaults, the government still has to pay the bank for the loan? It was free money for the bank, zero risk. The only reason to have a profit is if you are taking a risk. So Obamacare went ahead and took government-driven student loans away from the banks and had the government run it themselves. And the banking industry went crazy and they put out lies about Obama is socializing the debt system. Obama is socializing the banking system, when all he was doing is unsocializing it, because the bank system in the old way was socialized bank system. You had no risk. That is why it was expensive. So anyhow, the private sector, remember, if the private sector takes over transportation, if the private sector takes over schooling, why do you think it costs more money to go to a private school than a public school? All right, because somebody is making a hell of a lot of money on that. So on the loans now, you asked about, is there some kind of a gimmickry? Yes, there was. Here is the deal. Corporations say, please cut our taxes, cut our taxes. And in order to cut our taxes, the state legislature said, okay, students, you're going to have to pay more of your money to go to school. Well, they don't have that money, so they take out loans. Some of them won't qualify for government loans, so they have to go and take out a private loan. And they take out a private loan with a higher interest rate. So here you go. Here's the deal. The private corporations take taxes, pay less taxes, which means they make more money. You pay to educate yourself by taking out loans to go to a college. That corporation then hires you. They get somebody that trained themselves to come and work for you. You didn't have to invest in training in them. So you got free money by having somebody else train the people you know. And then when it's time to pay back the debt, that student has to pay interest. It's all on that student. They have to pay the corporations the loans, the interest on the loans. They paid for their own education to subsidize the corporations. And numero tres, the corporations get a big benefit from not paying for schooling. I mean, that's the best racket there is in the world. But when you hear it on TV, when you hear this on MSNBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, or whatever, it is never explained in this fashion. It is always explained as if those irresponsible Gen Zs, those irresponsible Gen Xs, those irresponsible folks. That is crazy. So we have to be careful of that. We have to be very careful of that.
Hey, folks, and Bree just brought a story that I was just researching as I played that, and it said that the Obama administration, and it occurs today, any consolidation of your student loans, your private student loans, into a direct government student loan, so that you can qualify for the forgiveness, is moot after today. So that means of the 2 million of the 44 million people that would have gotten debt relief won't get it because their loans came from the private sector. And the private sector does not, let me tell you what it says here. Let's say the private sector is going to sue the Biden administration. And why are they doing it? Because if people start to pay off that debt, these bankers, these banksters, are going to have to write down the amount of assets that they have, because that interest paying debt is no longer there. So here we have the government saying we are going to give relief to good students who decided to go out there and get an education. And the private sector said, no. We need to continue our parasitic behavior. We must continue being parasites. We need to sucker the money out of those people. Folks, if this isn't evil, when I talk about a private, the banksters being evil, this cuts it all. In other words, and guess who's suing? The red states are suing. 6 red states. Let me put that on the screen. 6 red states. Here we go. GOP states sue Biden administration to overturn debt relief. So to mitigate this, to try to take this outside, now Biden is saying, okay. Only the people who have direct loans from the government will we go ahead and provide that. If this isn't sick, I don't know what is. If this isn't sick, I don't know what is. Okay, let me go back to what you got. Oh, actually, let me do my ask, and then I'll be right back. A quick ask, and then I'll be right back. Politics Done Right depends on you to keep doing what we do. What do? We make sure to keep, number one, the internet seeded with blogs and information to counter the right and to present what progressives represent for the benefit of us all to everybody so that it's not misread, misled by any other entity. We make sure and populate that internet with blogs, with videos, with all these other things to make sure that we are informed and to counter everything that you normally hear that are lying at the right. We also make sure to create articles in magazines, articles in newspapers all around the country to ensure, again, that our message gets out there. Last but not least, we also write books. As you see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, How to Make America Utopia, are 2 of the many books that I've written on these issues. So please support us in one of many ways. Numero uno, you can support us at PayPal, either one time or monthly. Go to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us on Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. You can support us by becoming a part of our YouTube channel, going to politicsdoneright.com/YouTube, or you can support us in many other forms that you can find at politicsdoneright.com/support. Be sure to visit our store, politicsdoneright.com. All right, folks. So please go ahead. I had all those lists. I put all those things in the report. Bridge, I'm sorry that I didn't see that. Actually, it isn't that I didn't see the messages. I went to the other stories. You know, sometimes I get this striking pain where they pull the tooth. You should have seen them jawing and pulling and fighting to get that. They said my bones are superb. So they were able to they had to really dig to get that stuff out, and it hurts like, even though they kept on injecting me, they even inject the pulp of the thing, and it hurt like hell, taking that tooth out. And now this whole side of my face hurts. But anyhow, I want to read from, earlier, remember, Mike Cisak, Mike, you have to understand that our folks, when I talk about our people, should all be educated by each other. And when you have folks that look and do their research, like Bridge MCP, Michael Rudnin, Paul Fleming, Davenport, these guys look up the data. And I mean from reputable resources. And here's from Bridge, Storm Scourge. Ron DeSantis voted no on Hurricane Sandy relief in 2013. As a newly elected Florida congressman, Representative Ron DeSantis voted against a bill to provide $9.7 billion in flood insurance aid for victims of Hurricane Sandy, the worst storm of 2012 that pummeled much of New York and New Jersey, inflicting nearly $70 billion in damage and killing 233 people across 8 counties from the Caribbean to Canada. So don't you think, Michael Cisak, you should give Bridge an apology for being wrong and for calling her out for being right? I think so. I've come on to this panel when I've made mistake. I've apologized and corrected myself. Will you do that? Will you be honest enough to do the same? All right, Mike Cisa reply. It was asked why people live on those beach areas where hurricanes come through. That National Flood Insurance Program, voted in by Democrats, is the reason. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. My head hurts too bad to answer that one right now. Let's continue going down, going down. Michael Rudnin puts a statement in there about how you can help the people again. Please read. Mike Cisa said, of course, we've had fewer and fewer hurricanes, fewer wildfires, fewer tornadoes. Where's this guy getting this stuff from? He's saying, Mike, I tell you what, Mike, every reputable newspaper have said that all those occurrences have increased. Could you please give us a link to a reputable source that says we've had fewer hurricanes, fewer wildfires, and fewer tornadoes? Please give me that data. And I promise you, I'll put it up to let people see what you read for the kind of information you put out here. Put it up, please. Is Egberto's from Sledo? Is Egberto's entire ideology and worldview based on what he thinks other people are thinking? Sure, seems like it when he constantly uses his adult imagination to devise some pretty evil thought and motivations to his political rivals. None of it is real. How pathetic that he seems to need his opposition to be motivated by evil. Anybody who hurts children is evil. I don't care what they're motivated by. The fact that they did it is evil. The Texas Republican legislature is evil. Why? Because they knowingly have the Medicaid, Medicare, the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. They can get it at a 10% payment only, and they decide not to take it and get their citizens killed. Is that evil or not? I can't say what their motivation is. I think their motivation is money. But their act is evil. I repeat, their act is evil. It kills. Tom C. says, Mike Cisak, we suffered because Democrats refusing science? Huh? Believe it's mainly Republicans who refuse masks and vaccines. GOP is the party of religion, faith, and not science. Agreed. Okay, let's see what Mike wants on the screen. What is that? Okay, Mike, again, CSAC. Rudnin gives you the information. You guys like to give Rudnin a hard time, but he gives you the information. Here are the number of storms as time moves on. Questions? Does that look like a decline to you? Does that look like a decline? That's verifiable, quantifiable data. Look at it. All right, let's continue here. Para ver. Egberto, will you scroll down? I did post when and what DeSantis voted in 2013. I read it, my dear beautiful. Naomi Klein is the person who wrote Shock Doctrine. Thank you. Mike Cisak, I post my facts and you all blow them off because you aren't serious. No, we blow them off because they're not facts. They're ridiculous statements from people that are indoctrinating you into hurting yourself, Brother Cisak. I love you, Brother Cisak. I'm only going to tell you the truth. Those people don't care a darn about you. That's why your farm is in trouble. If you want a successful small farm, not dependent on the oligarchy, then you should vote not Republican, not neoliberal Democrat, but progressives. Okay, let's see what else got here. Okay, Egberto, you want your audience to be aware of informed and international issues. Why have you not talked about Nord Stream or the new female PM of Italy? The new female PM of Italy is a fascist. We've spoken about her. In fact, Rudnin brought that to us a couple of days ago, or when it occurred. Nord Stream was we all understand what it is, right? We actually covered that as well. Michael Rudnin covered all of that this morning, or rather in the preamble, where he said it's the worst disaster that has happened in the release of methane. Denmark also said it's 80% of their total release all year. So you see, Ledo, before you hit me up, verify that I've covered the damn thing. We try to be complete. And I have such good people watching this show. They cover every base that I don't. In other words, thank you, Redden. Thank you, Bridge MCP. Thank you, Michael CSAC. Not CSAC, but thank you. Thank you, Fleming. Thank you, Tom C. Thank you, Robert Davenport. Always have solid information that we can find it to be quantifiable, reproducible, verifiable. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Melanie Keelan is in the house. I didn't see you, my dear, beautiful lady. Okay. Look at what Mike Cesek says. According from 1990 to the 1960s, an average of 8.4 major hurricanes per decade. After 1960, the max on average was... Oh, you better go ahead and reread that. We have the NOAA stuff on the screen right now. Please reread what you mean. Cherry picking doesn't help. Cherry picking does not help. It just kills, actually. Let's see what else we have here. Para ver. All right, we are almost done with the show. Actually, we are done with the show. My head is killing me. Melanie Keelan says, my daughter graduated from the University of Barcelona in June. No loans, no debt. She received government grants. We paid only registration fees in 4 years. Maybe 600 lira. What is it? Money in Spain again? I don't remember. Again, these are humane societies. We live in a capitalist society who try to monetize everything. Emma Becker says, representatives suing to keep school loan profits flowing. Sick. Yes, it is sick. Okay, let's continue. I got to close her down. The best thing you can do for a country, a thing I cannot do anymore because of my age and worker, is to go door to door to door for Canada. We are doing it, and you're going to hear on Monday one of the leaders doing that will visit with us in the studio. He's going to talk about that. Thank you for that, Lopez. Deborah Moyer says, Forbes article listed by Mike says it's over 10 years old. Oh, Lord. Yeah, which article are we talking about? Mike Cisak? Okay, I think I understand what's going on. Eric K says, plant Egberto seed and have healthy plants. Yep, that's true. Daniel Edo said, I have been waiting over 30 years for global warming predictions to come true. Well, if you haven't seen them come true, you're blind, sir. Egberto Willis, go to bed. We thank you, but seriously, get some pain relief. I will. All right, let's see what else we got. Deborah Moyer says, euros in Spain. That's right, and that was a euro sign. What's wrong with me? My head's not working. Thanks for correcting that. All right, let's still pray for Florida. You bet your life we're praying for Florida. And read Michael's thing there so that we can actually donate monies to Florida. Anyway, my name is Egberto Willis. Please remember to support our program the best you can. Let me put the one link up there, then I'm out of here. Please go ahead. Our all-encompassing support link is at politicsdoneright.com/support. Please support us in whatever form you can. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host. Egberto Willis. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes the people. Whether liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to hear your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media corporations, we own allegiance to remember. You can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIS. That is Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
Welcome to Politics Done Right.